Hello, and welcome everybody to today's Just Chatting stream. Maybe some drawing later, probably just chatting. I am your corporate kitsune, your corporate foxboy Sanish, and I'm here to chat about a recent trip I took. Very exciting. Well, oh my god, I'm looking at the wrong screen. There we go. Today I have a just chatting stream. I'm going to have some pictures, some media, a little slideshow. Not much of a slideshow, like 4 pictures. A little list of things to talk about. I got my iPad ready to draw, just in case. If I realize I have 30 minutes of things to talk about, then I'm done here. Let's move on. I've adjusted some of my audio settings, so let me know if the background music's too loud, I'm too quiet. It needs a audio noise suppressor back on because you can hear me like typing, I guess, clicking on things. I'm not playing games, so I'm not like aggressively just like mashing my keyboard. I'm not like angrily keyboarding away trying to get something done. I was getting some feedback from friends in Discord that the noise suppressor I was using was still off. So do let me know. Diagnosing audio issues is something that I am you can shut down a little bit. There we go. Mildly terrified about because I have to hear myself talk. So welcome everyone, new viewers, old and old. So I was gone for a week. Mildly terrified. Oh, mildly terrified hearing my own voice. Ugh. It's the worst. I get jump scared sometimes when I'm trying to check my own stream or my own YouTube channel, and YouTube's like, let's autoplay this VOD for you. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear myself. One day I'll need to get over it. Need to work it out, accept it, do some sort of immersion therapy of just like listening to myself, which is I say be cringe and be free, but hearing yourself be cringe is a different level than being cringe. Cringe on review, a little harder to get through. At some point, this background audio track is going to loop or go to the next playlist. We'll find out together. So first off, I just want to say, as I left on, I think my last stream was Saturday when I finished Boyfriend Dungeon. Not this Saturday, but Saturday before. But that's Sunday or thereabouts. I noticed that Blue Sky, the somewhat federated, still owned by a corporation, a little unclear there, social media platform kind of had a mass migration. It's just Sunday or Monday. Mass migration from Twitter, especially a lot of indie VTubers. Like I was on Twitter and Blue Sky, kind of like both, not seeing really good results for either. I think maybe 1 or 2 people came from Twitter. A lot of spam, a lot of so I've seen the same conversation play out like 6 times now from spammers isn't the right word. People looking to get commissions, which I guess they have like a commission playbook. But so I was like away from my big computer, which I do most of my things, trying to, on my phone, navigate the sudden influx of people and interest on Blue Sky. And so I went from like 10, 20 followers on Blue Sky to I'm at like 411. I'm not gonna say crazy, but like for me, like very wacky amount of people who are following me. I'm like, you all shouldn't be following me. And I credit entirely to those who made starter packs, which are, I think, a great thing. And a lot of ways, Blue Sky over the last week has felt a lot like the first week of college, where no one has any friends and everyone's still trying to form those social circles. So if you get on the ground floor, you can actually like meet people, go around, like know people figuring out the social etiquette together. Versus like if you try to join, like you transfer in, you're 3.5 years in, like everything's established. You're just like, I don't know how to meet people. Where is everybody? What are these weird circles? What do these tags mean? So I joined a couple YouTuber starter packs. There's one there's a Fox one. There's one for people over 30. And I think a couple, like one for small streamers. So if you have under 1,000 followers, I'm like, oh, I qualify for that one easily. So I got a lot of followers through all that, which is kind of exciting. We'll see over the next week or so if any of that translates into views. I think I've actually had two or three Twitch follows already from posting and sharing just during my trip. And then one YouTube follow maybe, which I honestly consider YouTube follows are nice, but they're not as critical because YouTube discoverability is terrible, just terrible. So I try and navigate all that on my phone, and I'm just like, I've used Twitter, I've attempted to use Twitter several times through my life, and I've never got the hang of it. I never got into it. So I'm going to give this another earnest go this time with Blue Sky. Hope for the best. See if I make any progress. See if it actually enriches or adds anything to my life. If not, I will viciously cut it and pretend it doesn't exist. Problem solved. One less thing to deal with. So if my activity suddenly drops off to nothing and you do follow me on Blue Sky, that's why it happens. But that was what happened another week. It was my tenuous grasp back from the tropical landscape of traveling with family to being a Foxboy VTuber on the internet, which are, as you may imagine, disparate worlds. One, outside, in the sun, with sand. The other, safe, inside, under a blankie, with a cup of tea, which I keep always forget about when I stream. Nice refreshing ginger tea. So, I have lots of things to talk about. We'll just talk for a bit, see how things go. I realize I'm like, sometimes I write out what I want to talk about in the Foxtsu Fridays, Zatsudan, just chatting streams, or in this case, Foxtsu Wednesday. And I'm like, am I using this as a substitute for therapy? And I'm like, probably a lot cheaper. Or more like, it's more like emotional rubber ducking than anything else. Which I will say, as a coding and work technique, rubber ducking, 10 out of 10. Absolutely wonderful. For those who don't know, rubber ducking is where you try to explain something that you're doing or problem you're working through to an inanimate object like a rubber duck. And through the process of trying to explain it coherently to something, you're able to work through all the problems and kinks and issues with it. I've used it a lot in grad school, and a lot of times I was writing some like really difficult code. Not so much anymore because I now inundate friends on Discord with my problems and they have to listen. Or they have to politely ignore me and then I pretend like they're listening. I got my Blue Sky check that off my list there. So yes, I went to Hawaii for a week. I went to Maui, the second biggest island, third biggest island. I actually don't know. I realized upon flying to Hawaii and landing in Hawaii, I'm like, I don't know much about Hawaii. I know roughly the geography. It's from a volcanic hotspot forming islands. It had its own independent kingdom that the US kind of conquered, and we kind of gloss over that fact. It's got some ports. It's got some sand. It is much farther south than one thinks. It is a much farther airplane ride than one would expect. Especially when you get the time zones wrong and you're on the plane and it's taking forever and you run out of your book and you're like, well, I'm going back to Slay the Spire then. Slay the Spire, carry me through this flight to safety. But I went because I have a relative who lives in Hawaii with his partner. He lived there for 10, 15 years or so. My parents visit there often. I do not live in Hawaii. And yet my parents, for some reason, prefer to visit my other relative who lives in Hawaii than me. It's like, does that have anything to do with the tropical beaches? To which they said yes. They straight up told me, yes, that is the case. Which is, fair. To each their own. What I try to do whenever I travel anywhere, any type of trip, any type of journey, I ask myself, what do I want to learn from this? What new experiences do I want to have? What self-assessment do I want to do on the things that we're doing, the things that I find myself doing, and ask my question, do I actually enjoy this? Is this something I want to pursue? Is this something I want to replicate on future trips? Is this something I want to replicate at home? Is this something that I've just told myself I've liked for years and it turns out I don't actually like it, yet here I am now in a tropical environment and maybe it's not for me? Perhaps. So that was this trip. I've had a couple trips in the past to tropical environments. I was last in Hawaii 20 years ago, again, on a family trip. And I've been to other tropics, in Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, Mexico. So I've been to a fair number of tropical places at this point in my life. And I've realized the overall important lesson is perhaps I don't like tropical locations. And that's what I've been working on and working through for the last 3 days since I got back. I got back on Sunday, 3 days. Is people keep asking me, oh, you just got back from Hawaii. Like, how was it? And they're like, everyone's excited. And there's like this general like expectation that you're supposed to love it. They're supposed to go to a tropical beach and have like the time of your life. People send things like, oh, finally arrived home, no more paradise. Or someone's like, oh, we have 3 more weeks in our trip. Oh, it's such wonderful, so magical. It's paradise. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm hot and I'm sweating. I'm lightly sticky and the sun is burning my pale skin. I want to go inside and play Genshin Impact. And that is a realization that at that moment, I think it was halfway through the trip, where someone called it paradise, and I was just like, how long till I get home? I miss streaming. I miss my partner. I miss being online with my online internet friends. But I tried it. I'm a good sport. Give the old college try. And all these things. I don't like get there and I don't be like, I'm going to be a big wet blanket and say everything is miserable. Wah, wah, wah. It's like, no. I'll give things a try. And if I don't enjoy something and my parents say, want to go hang out at the beach for 4 more hours in the morning, I can be, you know what? I'm going to stay in the hotel room in the air conditioning. You two have fun. Fortunately, I'm very fortunate in this regard. For my family, it is acceptable to do that. We are not there to spend 24/7 with each other. We can have breaks. You can opt out of things. You can decide to skip something and just hang out at a coffee shop. You just go read a book somewhere. You don't have to join in. There isn't a deep familial pressure to be like, we only see you once a year, and so we have to be every waking minute with you, because that would be miserable. Learning about cultures, interesting. Meeting new people sometimes. New perspectives. I think new perspectives is the big thing for me, is both perspectives in routines, ways of living, environments, types of food, activities is one you can have as a new perspective. Just different culture, speed of life, public transit infrastructure. It gives you a mirror on which to examine your own life and then see if it is what you want it to be. And that is the big takeaway. That is the big takeaway from travel. And, building empathy, learning things about other people, also very important. And I think that is oftentimes lost. And I sometimes ask why people are traveling. I'll just background music down a little bit. Most because it's loud for me. So I try to get those different perspectives, those different behavior. I'm fortunate that my sometimes, and this is one of the things, is in Hawaii, in Maui, maybe other parts of Hawaii it's different, but it's very much like you got the sense that there was like 2 different Hawaiis, maybe 3 different Hawaiis. There was like the untouched, rugged landscape that is super, like, at least in the area I was near, like Wailea and Kihei, super dry, so dry. You have the place where people who live full time on the island and work on the island. So I'd be like Kihei, where my family was, which has more of a almost like more like a neighborhood beach scene. It felt like a neighborhood beach town. People lived in. It felt very lived in as an environment. And then we were staying in a condo in Wailea, which is just south of Kihei. And this is where all your, as they call them, big box resorts were located. So your Hiltons, your Hyatts, Grand, blah, blah, blah. And it felt very much more like a manicured Maui. Like, this was all carefully manicured landscaping, all like irrigated throughout and watered to be lush and green, but like very much controlled nature. So it's like perfectly kept lawns, trimmed bushes and hedges, like nice roads, like the beaches were cleaned with like lounge chairs on them. And it was like very much like a manicured, curated experience, which it's like, and I'm not saying like this one's bad and one's good perhaps, but it's very much like a different perspective and different vibe. Engineered is a very good way to put it, between the two. And I mean, the beaches as a result are nice. I'll give it like credit where credit's due. The beaches are nice, but I think the beaches would have been nice anyway. And it is nice to have like, okay, it is nice to have like a rinse off shower in a bathroom. That's not a porta potty. I'll give you that much. But the super manicured cruise ship on the land type resorts is like, it's a bit much. And I feel if you're in that environment, you're not there for the different experiences and culture aspect of it or history. Definitely more there for like, I want to go on tropical beach and just sit in the sun and like, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Not for me. I learned that's not for me. And that's my key takeaway. I definitely enjoyed some other tropical places I've been. For example, definitely purely activity focused and more safe activity focused. Like, it's like touristy. It's touristy. Like, it's fine. But it's I know. Always felt very sanitized and clean and not my vibe. Places that, okay, I will reflect briefly on myself. Places in tropical environments I have enjoyed. What is it? Capital of Puerto Rico. It's not San Juan. Maybe it's San Juan. Old Town San Juan. I stayed in an old convent there for a converted hotel. That was super cool. Really liked that. You see the old fortifications, the history going on there. Some unique, I always like unique natural experiences. So Puerto Rico had like bioluminescent bays. I'll talk about what I did in Hawaii. I stayed at a rainforest eco lodge on the coast of Costa Rica that was entirely geared towards sustainability, which is super neat. More rugged, but also kind of more like you're in it together sort of feel. I did one all-inclusive resort in Mexico and I did not care for that. Kind of my bias showing up there. So manicured Maui, very nice, very manicured. But the weird thing is we're staying in these condos. And their condos they're managed by a rental agency that rents them out. And we end up inadvertently meeting somebody in one of our activities who lived in that condo complex. It's like 200 units. And she said like, oh yeah, I'm one of 9 full-time residents. The other 190 units are all just rentals. It's just like, it's wild. It's wild. I'm just like, they're all empty or they're going to be empty or they're just like all manicured for tourists. It's very, very odd. We got sent I think capital indeed. And they're expensive. That's the other thing. Well, of course they're expensive. I think it was like the Redfin, the unit we were in actually was in under contract to be sold. And its total monthly cost was something like $10,000 a month after AOA, they call it AOA fees, mortgage, rent, all that. And it's just like, whoa, that's a spicy price. I mean, I was like, oh, are they going to like live in it? Or are they going to rent it out? And it's like, don't know. Could be either. So, probably. I mean, it was nice. Well, it was nice kitty for tropics. There was some cockroaches. There were some bugs. It was hot and sticky. It's terrifying. The one thing, the opposite end of that is we, as we're driving around, we drove to the west side of the island for a short hike along some cliffs. Oh wait, I can show my pictures here. Yeah. I forgot I had pictures involved. Before that, but part of that we outskirted Lahaina. Many people don't know because they don't have people or friends or family on Hawaii. Lahaina was a town that was burned down 2 years ago. Some terrible wildfires. A lot of people died. home just gone completely. And like my uncle's partner's family lost their home in Lahaina. A lot of people remember going there. And so there's a lot of like favorite places that are now gone. And it was a place we couldn't actually like, it was brought up whether we should drive through the main drag of Lahaina or just take the freeway to bypass most of it. And for my family from California, it was like we had to bypass it. Like seeing a burned out town recovering is just like too emotional when it's happened to like the town you grew up in or town nearby. And it's just like, oh, this is rough. And then hearing some like just hoping for the best that they're like recovering and building. It's like a slow process. But it's a real downer of a topic. If anyone from Lahaina, good luck rebuilding. Good luck deciding how to rebuild. A lot of places were just foundation still. And good luck finding someplace to live, which feels terrible when people are like, oh, our homes were down, we have nowhere to stay. Oh, these condos 90% unoccupied because they're rentals. And just like, time to eat some rich. Maybe some time to eat some rich, perhaps. But we drove around that. We didn't drive straight through because that would have been too rough. And you don't want to feel like you're, let's go look at the disaster zone and do some disaster tourism. It's like, ugh, gross. No. So what did we do? What did I do? And what did I enjoy? What didn't I enjoy? One thing I remembered deeply that I don't enjoy putting on sunblock. I always forget this. And when I have to put sunblock on, I'm like, this feels icky. This feels bad. I do not care for this. And that's my baseline for sunblock. But Hawaii is now 100% reef safe sunblock only. So you can't use the same sunblock you can get like on the mainland. You have to actually get like a sunblock that's not going to murder the coral reefs. Who would have thought? And it feels a little bit worse. And it's a lightly purple shade. So everyone who just put sunblock on has like a nice purple tint to them. It's a vibe. Not an orange tint though, sadly. Just a purple tint. So I spent most of my time sunblocked, sunglasses. I had to buy a wide-brimmed hat while I was there to wear to protect my pale ears. And the real MVP of this trip was an SPF 50 long sleeve rash guard that I bought at REI a couple years ago. Thank you, rash guard. You saved me from being broiled alive while snorkeling. Otherwise I'd be as the same shade as my thumbnail for the stream. I don't want that. Gotta protect my youthful good looks. You look at me, you hardly think I'm over 30, but look, I look so young. Because I don't go outside. That's the key. So, what did I do? So, did some things. We'll start with, I have some photos here. So you can go see these photos. So first off, this background photo. Get out of the way. Went to a ocean distillery up in the upland? Upcountry. Went to ocean distillery upcountry, which is a vodka, I think they started with a vodka distillery, and they've expanded to gin and a rum. So they're kind of up on this like up on this cliff side. Oh no, wrong picture. I forget I control myself. I can screw myself down. Shrink. So we got this nice. No, what is showing? This guy, yeah. So we got this nice sunset photo. I'll come over here. This nice sunset photo. A lot of good sunsets. I'm not showing photos yet. No, I was looking at the background. I was fiddling with my model there. And so lovely sunsets. Yeah. I brought my actual camera, but I didn't end up taking it anywhere because I didn't really want to carry a bunch of photo camera gear into a sandy beach. Haha, who knew? I realized that's not a good idea. It's also wasn't really, I wasn't in a photo taking vibe. That's another deep part of it. And that goes for a lot of photography. Sometimes I get somewhere and I'm like, I'm not feeling it for taking these photos. So I don't. Let's see, let me get these layers. We'll come back to that one. Here we go. This is the other one. Oh, it's on top of everything. Oh, okay. There we go. Whew. So we've got this panorama. Here we go. This panorama going through of the same location as the background, but during the day. So it looks due west. So like Kihei and I don't have a pointer here, or my ears are pointing. Kihei and Wailea are like down here, my ears are pointing. You get up here, you get like Sugar Beach area up here by these ears. And then we keep going. Interestingly, there's only one line of, you can barely see them over my right ear, of windmills on this one ridge on the island. Surprisingly little wind power, but I guess a lot of solar power, which makes sense when you're the sunny tropics. So you keep going, and this is like the dry. So the geography of Maui is one active volcano and one extinct volcano. There's a valley in between them. Valley is like rain shadows on all angles, and it's like super dry. We go over here, we go over here. Rain shadow in action. See those mountains getting rain, and you keep going, and then you get to the east side of the island, where the airport is, where my ears are. Check out that panorama. Not many panoramas, but enough that they're. I don't. Let's see, I think I want this one next. What do we got next? What do we got next? This is like I've uploaded these into OBS. I didn't label them anyway, so it's going to be a random gotcha draw. What do we got here? This one is this one. This one. Oh, same sunset as the background, but just a different view. Here we go. Sunsets. Lovely sunsets. I'll give Hawaii credit. I'll give the tropics credit. Great sunsets. Like sometimes where I live, we get sunsets similar to this. I've been to other beaches. We get sunsets like this. But I'll give credit to Hawaii for one thing. Very consistent, lovely sunsets. Very lovely. One thing we did on one of the nights, it doesn't really matter which one, we did a sunset cruise. So if we go out, take this one off. Here we go. We did a sunset cruise, like a 2-hour cruise, like a little catamaran, out and around that. It's like launched from like where my ear is right here. I need a pointer. Launch here, kind of like tooled around on a boat and came back. So like on a catamaran, windy, heavy appetizers, drinks, like 20 people, 20 passengers on the boat. It was lovely. It was nice. And I realized you can do that sort of sunset cruise when you have consistent weather. Versus other things like whale watching, very inconsistent. Trying to find dolphins, good luck, buddy. Sunsets though, easy peasy, every night about the same time. All right, gotcha roll this photo. Oh, this is sunset from our condo. Here's only took sunset photos. Haha. But here's palm trees, very picturesque, palm-like. But you get this good underlighting on the afternoon storm clouds, which is super always always cheery. Always cheery. We're done with this one. Now here's what we're gonna see. Let's see if this one loads up. I did do one video. Let's see if it loads. Bam. There we go. So this is on the west side of the island. This is the west side of the island. Very rocky. Big good waves. And it wasn't even like a particularly windy day, particularly stormy day. We're getting some good waves crashing against the rocks, which is great. This walk was great, except for the fact that I was in full sun and I was melting and dying and my body was shutting down. It was like 82 degrees. I'm like, this is too much. Too much for me. I shouldn't be out in this sort of weather. I need to be in shade. Where it's nice and safe. One dude's nice and safe. Java Islands, you're gonna have clear, sunny skies in the mornings up until about noon when the clouds are gonna start rolling in. You'll get some showers and thunderstorms around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And they'll clear about 5 p.m. They roll up, the sunset comes in. There's your weather forecast for the tropics for the next 365 days. Done and done. I was gonna make this the background for the bottom. For the whole stream. I was gonna have it like this. And then I realized I didn't do enough footage to get an actual decent loop. As I was watching the loop, and there's that cut right there. There's that cut right there. I was like, okay. If I just waited a little bit longer, it would be as noticeable, but just like, the cut. You can't hear me. Oh, was there audio on that video? There was audio on that video. Oh. An on-location reporter. All right, so this is one of those things where I have the background music coming through desktop. So I hear background music coming through, but the video for that video, I'm like, I don't hear anything. I probably should have the sound monitor on at some point. I didn't realize it was audio. Wow. Not just audio, but it's turned up to max volume. Why is max volume the default? So anyway, as I was saying, under the crash of waves, the video doesn't loop perfectly, and I can't use it as a background. I'm like, I want, well, I obviously can't hear it, but I wanted to have like, this is a very distracting background for the stream, very tropical. But that cut, that jump cut, I just can't watch that jump cut. So that's it. That's it for photos. We're gonna turn them all off now. Goodbye photos. Goodbye photos. I'll keep the background. I like the background. But I didn't actually use my camera. I thought about it a couple times. I carefully brought it to the beach once. But like, look, I'm gonna be honest with everybody. Yeah, deep secret. Beach photos are terrible. There, I said it. I threw it out there. Unless you're at an interesting time of day, or you have some interesting subject matter, wide expanses of a sandy beach, meh. I think my camera is weatherproof, actually. When I think about it, it's like dust rated and sand rated, and like probably some water rating on it. But even still, it's just like, I don't know, beaches aren't that interesting for photography, except for, yeah, get sand in your camera gears and good luck with your lens forever. Don't change lenses, buddy. Commit. The only time I've actually really like super enjoyed beach photography is when I did night photography on a beach in undergrad. That's a lot of fun. Night photography, long exposures, it makes everything fun and delightful. Daytime though, when it's sunny out, like, unless you're at sunset, middle of the day beach photos, I'm like, I'm just so uninspired. They're just like, hard pass. And that was something I learned about myself. Having uninteresting things to take photos of takes some of my enjoyment out of travel. So there. I choose my iPhone like a scrub. But took some photos still. Some of it was like requisite, like going through the motions, like, oh, this is what people who go to Hawaii enjoy doing. I'll do the same thing to see if I enjoy it as well. And then it's like, perhaps paradise isn't for me. Perhaps Hawaii isn't for me. My uncle asked me on the last day, like, oh, is you gonna come back to Maui? I'm just like, no. Sorry, Hawaii. So what did I do? Okay, so we went on a beach cruise. We went for some walks. We did not go up the volcano. Sorry, volcano. I've learned in my old age I get carsick easily if I'm a passenger. Depends on the driver, but more often than not, I can get carsick. And a lot of the roads in Hawaii are a bit windy, and I'm like, no thank you. Definitely 110,000% did not do the road to Hana. Hard pass, no thank you. I'll never do the road to Hana. Let me get a screenshot of this in here. For those who do not know the road to Hana. Apparently it's lovely. It's a lovely experience for people who aren't me. Let me get a good Google map here. Here we go. I'm not going to share my, I'm not going to, okay, I have to like save this as an image to load in OBS. I'm not going to share my browser window because that's how I dox myself. So the road to Hana. First off, Hana apparently is not a place, like not a destination. It's all about the journey, which is like, a metaphor and all that. But the road looks like this. Look at this road. Put this under myself. Like, look how windy that is on the map. That's how windy this road is. And it's like an experience. You go like 10 miles per hour, blind curves, precipitous cliffs. Very, very like switchbacky back and forth. And for someone who's like, look at this. Look at this section. Look at this section right here. Look at this right there. Terrifying. So not doing that one. Sorry, Road to Hana. Maybe one day when I'm driving, but probably not. Pass for me. So no long drives. Went snorkeling, rented some snorkels from a lovely snorkel shop. Got some sandwiches at the nearby sandwich shop. Took them to a beach. Got my rash guard on, my sunblock, my hat, everything, the fins, everything to protect myself. And we went out snorkeling off the beach, which was nice. It was enjoyable. I was a little worried about my ability to swim, but it turns out I float quite well in salt water. I float a lot more than I thought I would float. Not sure what that says about me, but I floated just fine. Snorkeled around, saw a lot of sea turtles, so that was a win. Apparently it's hard. Sometimes it's rare to see turtles, but they were just like, at one point, about 4 turtles just hanging around. There's one rock trying to eat off of it. Over in another section, we saw maybe 8 sea turtles just floating about, doing their turtley thing. One was just like lounging in the coral reef. Makes it a little bigger here. One was just lounging in the coral reef. One was just kind of like hanging out with like a school of about a dozen little fish, cleaning its shell, which is kind of neat. One was missing its little back flipper and had a serial number carved into its shell. So my buddy has seen some shit. When you're a turtle and you got a serial number carved into you, you're in some government database, buddy. Good luck. Good luck. Don't get fin printed. They're after you. But generally, sea turtles are all relaxing. Definitely the thing is you're not supposed to approach the sea turtles. You're supposed to give them a lot of space. Don't touch the sea turtles. Don't interact. But if they come up to you, you have to kind of let them do their own thing. None of them came up to me, but I almost did run into a sea turtle. Because I was looking down, you're looking straight down. You're kicking your fins. You have a snorkel on. You're snorkeling, and all of a sudden I looked up and I was like on a head-on course to climb the turtle. I was able to stop in time. And I will say this: snorkel technology has improved in the last 20 years. When I last did snorkeling, it was just like a tube. So water could get into the tube. You had to blow water out and clear it. It was like a whole pain. These ones were just like one-way valves, never got clogged. Water didn't get in them at any point. They were just like a delight to use. So good job, modern engineering and snorkel technology. Big fan. Big fan of modern snorkels. Going great. We sat on the beach. A lot of sitting on beaches, under umbrellas, fighting the sun. My cursor is on screen. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, you know what? Oh, it's getting captured by YouTube Studio. Haha. I do have a cursor. I have a cursor from... Oh, if I click into V2 Studio, I have a cursor. Oh, look at that. Oh, cursor capture action. As I idly move my mouse as I talk. Sat on the beach. Read on the beach. Read books. Ran out of books. Started other books. Abandoned those books. Return to light novels. The usual gamut for beach reading. I found reading on the beach wasn't like the super relaxing experience everyone else makes it out to be. Because you're on the beach in the sand. At least for me, I'm like constantly worried about getting sunburn. Getting sunburn and then getting sand everywhere and then tide coming in. I was much more relaxed reading on like the patio of the condo or inside in nice air conditioning, looking outside at the lovely sunset from my safe, air-conditioned, not humid room. These are life lessons. Sunburn, sand, beach features. Luckily, not too many like sand fleas or other bugs on the beach. There were some like little crabs scuttling about. Crabs are fine. It's just a learning about me and reading on beaches. Not my thing. Same for like reading poolside. I'm just like, I am not a water fox. That's what it comes down to. I'm distinctly not a water creature. I am I'll take wind coating. I'll take fire coated. Definitely not water coated. Not my element. Sorry to any water fans out there. I wear contacts because normally I have glasses. Normally I have glasses, but I had to wear contacts for the first time in like 2 years, and I'm just like, that first day you put contacts on, and you haven't done it in a long time, you're just like, good luck to me. I'm putting something in my eye. The prescription's going to be off. I'm going to blink a lot. I'll feel it constantly. And then you get frustrated, and you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to shove this contact in and hope for the best. And then it works. It works fine. Turns out, but I find getting them out to be harder. Because you have to like touch the middle of your eye. You're like, I'm touching it. I did not visit any volcanoes. The volcanoes are all up very windy roads, and I'm not into that. Also, I don't know if Maui has a particularly cool active volcano. I think it's on the Big Island because it's active and alive. See some steam vents, see some lava. Not this time. No volcanoes this time. So the one big thing I had one big thing planned. A lot of my plans was like kind of hanging on, trailing after what my parents were doing. Take these off. And I had one thing planned for myself, and that was to try out scuba diving. I Okay, I can admit this here. This is a safe space. I had no interest in scuba diving. Then I read Grand Blue Dreaming, and I'm like, you know what? This manga is great. This manga is wonderful. I want to try scuba diving now. I didn't tell anyone on this trip that my inspiration to go scuba diving was Grand Blue Dreaming. And I never will. I'm going to say here, this is a safe internet space. You're watching a Fox Boy internet. He can admit to having watched and got inspired to scuba dive from Grand Blue Dreaming. So I booked an introductory scuba course, which I learned in the process of this that 2 of my uncles are big scuba divers. I didn't really know this, and routinely go scuba diving to this day. They went like, one went like a couple months ago to like 80 meters down, 100 meters down, not meters, feet. 100 meters would be a lot. So they're all on board with me trying out scuba diving. And I think it used to be different. It used to be you had to get certified before you could go scuba diving. From the vibes I was getting from some of the literature, that seemed to be the case. But now there's like, maybe it's always been. I'm not an expert. I've done this once. They're like called discovery dives or exploration dives, where you don't need any certification. You just kind of like, the process was you sign up, do a little online course about like, here are some basic hand signals and safety, and here's your gear. By the way, protect the environment. We love the environment. And I'm like, I am fully aware. Check, and check. Got through safety, passed the health briefing. The health briefing was what spooked me deeply. The health briefing was like, you need to be a strong swimmer. I'm just like, I know how to swim, maybe, probably still. Riding a bike. But I got there. You get to the dive shop. In the dive shop, they fit you with fins, water shoes, and a wetsuit. Well, they don't fit everybody with a wetsuit. It's still warm in Hawaii. It's like compared to other places on the Pacific Rim, it's warm. I walked in, they looked at my frail, tiny body, and they're like, you're going to be cold. Let's get you a thicker wetsuit. You need some insulation. And I was just like, they were right. But they had to peg me like that immediately. They could have at least pretended a little bit. Like, oh, maybe you might need something warmer. And they're like, no. They're like, you're going to need something warmer. Little fox boy, I'm going to strap you into our thickest wetsuit. I'm just like, it's true. I was a little bit cold when I was snorkeling. Despite wearing a long sleeve black t-shirt. They did want to support me. But then I thought nothing of it. Then the 3 other people who joined our dive came in. They did not offer them or suggest they needed wetsuits in the slightest. They just said, hey, if you want a wetsuit, we can get you one, but they're not needed. I wasn't given the option. They're like, you weigh less than a twig. You need a wetsuit. It's fine. It was cozy. I felt better in the wetsuit anyway. I wanted a wetsuit so I don't get sunburned. Still getting called out like that immediately. So you get a wetsuit, you get fins, you get little food, you get little water booties, and then you drive out to the dive site. And this is where I was fortunate that my uncle lent me his car, or he bought a new car recently. He lent me his old car, which is like, it was a 20-year-old Honda Civic stick shift, which my first car was a stick shift, and it was stolen. And so stick shifts are one of those things where, like, if I'm not commuting, they're a lot more fun to drive than manuals. Especially not like modern ones that have like electric gear shifts. No. Give me like an actual clutch and actual gears. Someone did steal manual, yes. That's another story for another time. Rest in peace, Nissan 240SX. You're my first and most favorite car. Yeah, someone stole my manual. I just wanted to get some Taco Bell and it was gone. I wanted some Taco Bell late at night and my car was gone. It was traumatic. I moved on. So I got to borrow my uncle's Honda Civic, 20-year-old beater car for driving around the island. He uses it mostly just to transport his wet dog places nowadays. But I was able to borrow it. So I was able to drive myself out to the dive shop. Drive myself over to the dive spot. Because they don't transit all the tourists, which makes sense. Why would they? Their cars full of gear. And there's 2 of them. One of them unload all the tanks, all the gear, get it all set up. Then we had like a 10, 15 minute, maybe 20 minute instruction set of like, Here's all the equipment. Here's all the hand signals. Here are the training lessons we're going to do that we need to clear before we can actually go out on the dive. And I think those are things you normally practice and do during certification in a swimming pool, but we're just doing them in the water. So we just drop down 6 feet. And overall, like, I was really worried, like scuba diving, you're underwater, you go deep, you're breathing through a scuba tank, which is a bit weird, a bit off for a lot of people. I had absolutely no problem with it. I was like, I want to be first in my class, get that 4.0 in scuba diving. So I passed all the exercises with flying colors because I'm good at these things. No, it's just compressed atmospheric air. It's not special air in any way. They did mention that, like, they said, like, don't call it an oxygen tank, because if you call it an oxygen tank, everyone around you will think you're a scrub. A total scrub. Because just compressed atmosphere. There's not a special mix. There's not like a special oxygen ratio. It's just regular old air from the back of their shop. But the simple exercise was pretty simple. We had to do one where you take the respirator. Call it respirator. Then you put in your mouth. The regulator. That's it. Take the regulator out. Put it back in underwater. Clear it. Second one is same thing, but you have to like let go of your regulator and drop it. This is all. We're about 6 feet underwater. Drop the regulator, and then like find it again and put it back in. And the other one is like completely flood your mask with water and clear it out. Which for me, that was a spooky one because I got a little bit of water in my eye and I was wearing contacts and I'm like, not like this. Don't let it end like this. It was fine. But the the other thing that I had to do, they had to add additional weights onto me so I would sink. First the insulation and then the extra weights needed. I just wasn't sinking. I was just like, I fully deflated the BCP or something, buoyancy control device, BCD, buoyancy control device. I completely deflated it, and most people sink because you have like the 40-pound backpack on, right? You have like this big tank and all the gear and stuff, and you deflate it. You're supposed to sink to the bottom, and I was just like bobbing at the surface still. So I had to come in and like add like some additional weights to my jacket. I mean, I think it's good long-term survivability. It's good, but when you're trying to sink to do scuba diving, it's a little embarrassing. It's fine. And then just like a 20-minute, 30-minute dive out about 25 feet deep around the reef, float above it, tool around, come back. We had of the 3 people who were in the party, 1 couldn't make it because they weren't able to get the breathing right underwater. Other things you have to on the way down, equalize your ears every like 3 feet, which took a while to get. Like everyone does it differently, but once I got it down, I was like, oh, equalize my ears, fine. And you're just kind of like, you're like swimming along, you're like looking at the reef, there's some little fishies in the water. You're like, oh, it's kind of fine. And you don't really notice, at least at this beach, it's a gentle slope. So you don't really notice it. And all of a sudden you look up and you're like 25 feet deep. And there's like these trails of bubbles going up to the bright surface. And you're just like, oh, I'm kind of deep. Ah, neat. And just keep on swimming. Just keep swimming around. I was worried to get like claustrophobia, agoraphobia, Subnautica sickness, where you worry where your sea moth is and you try to get some titanium and like a little fish swims at you and you have to try to grab it. But it was all fine, and it was like, oh, swim back to shore. It was pretty surprisingly easy and a lot more fun than I expected, except for the part where I had water in my ear for 3 days afterwards. Haha, couldn't get it out. Haha, oh, so enjoyable. And then I did 2 dives, so then we kind of hung out a bit. They switched out the tanks out, they prepped all the gear again, and the same group went out a second time. A little bit deeper, a little bit farther out. It was fun. Saw some eels, saw a pufferfish hiding in a rock. Didn't see any sharks. Didn't see any sea turtles on the scuba dive. No, nothing for ears. You just neutralize them yourself. Some people got like you pinch your nose and like you're blowing your nose, like a sort of blow. Other people like you have to stretch your neck out as you do it to like open up the airways and between your neck and your throat and your ears. No, you want to neutralize everything. You want everything to be fully neutralized. You want the water to get in. sounds bad. You want the water to get in so that the pressure can equalize just fine. I think diving plugs might do something weird pressure-wise. Maybe not. Maybe there's specialty gear for this. They give it just, get in the water, equalize your ears, good enough. They seemed unconcerned and did not mention any special diving gear such as that. So it was fine. So I learned about myself. I am fine doing scuba diving. And I kind of enjoyed it. 2 things I enjoyed about scuba diving on reflection. 1, once you're underwater, once you're about 3 feet deep, don't gotta worry about sunburn. That water takes care of all those UV rays for you. Oh, so kind, so gentle. Thank you, seawater. Second thing I learned, as a group activity, you can't talk to people. There's no chat. There's no small talk. You're just floating away in your own little world, following the guide and his little hand signals. He points at things, you go look at it. You try not to kick someone in the face with a flipper. You don't panic. You just continuously breathe and kind of like hum along, kind of go along the bottom. They're kind of peaceful in that way. Snorkeling as well, but snorkeling is a little more fidgety because you're in the surf and there's waves and there's rocks and things. But once you get up past the main currents, it's kind of a very peaceful, relaxing zen moment underwater there. But I'm probably not, now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, probably not gonna get certified, but like certifications are a lifetime thing. I may do it. There's some dives you can do that sound kind of more fun. Different area, different tropical environments. I live in a place with cold, dark water. That 2 of my instructors, the 2 instructors we had, got certified in my area, and they both said it was terrible. Don't get certified there. Like, we went into the water, it was dark, you couldn't see in front of you, it was cold. And it's just like, sounds fun, sounds lovely. We're not gonna get certified here. But they said do all the pool work and all the course work at home, and then get certified like Hawaii, which I don't know. Will I go back to Hawaii specifically? Maybe not. Will I go someplace to do scuba diving? Would I do like, say, a Costa Rica or Puerto Rico again? Or the Great Barrier Reef or New Zealand? Maybe. That's more plausible. Hawaii specifically in big resort town? No. That's right out. And it cost, I think it was like $200 for the whole experience. It was fun. One of the instructors reminded me deeply of my brother. He had like the same sort of truck, the same vibe. It's like if my brother just, instead of being a land-dwelling individual, was a beach individual, this would be his lifestyle of taking people out on scuba dives. Because apparently 2 of my uncles scuba dive, and so they're like, oh yeah, go get you certified. It's great, a lot of fun. Get that encouragement. It was fun. One thing we did that I learned I don't enjoy. A lot of don't learns here. Some positive learnings, a lot of negative learnings. That's why you travel, to know these things. We did a sunrise outrigger canoe trip. So I think it's the Kihei Canoe Club. I'm going to say it's the Kihei Canoe Club. Hopefully that's the right name. If not, I'm sorry. As a essentially a volunteer organization that has a bunch of outriggers, and they take like a traditional style, or modern materials, traditional Hawaiian style, and they take you out on a morning like hour-long paddle. So we showed up before at sunrise, do a little sun salutation sort of ritual. Then you help push the canoes out, hop in, and then paddle along with the sun coming up, calm waters along the outside of the bay there, and then paddle back into land. A lot of people loved it. We talked to some people who were like, oh, this is an amazing experience. We're here for 3 weeks. Isn't this paradise and lovely? I'm just like, as I'm paddling, I'm doing an okay job paddling on the way out. But once we were on that return leg, I'm like, time to paddle. The faster I paddle, the faster I get this promised breakfast burrito and coffee. That's how I motivate myself. That's how I got motivated. Oh, on the sunrise thing, I had the same exact reaction. When I saw this was like 7 a.m. event. Be up and ready to leave at 6:30 a.m. I was just like, oof, 6:30 a.m. Until it's pointing out to me, my dear friend, the time zone difference. For me, Hawaii is 3 hours off. So 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. Hawaii time was mine 9:30 a.m. So I was wide awake and up at about 5 a.m. every day, 4:30 a.m. every day, just like in bed, fully awake, and I would just quietly get up, go into the kitchen. My mom was already awake. She already made a pot of coffee. In the dark, pour my coffee, briefly get a little bit of light, open the refrigerator for creamer, and then shuffle into the dark, unlit patio where she was on her iPad and phone doing things, and then I'd be posting on Blue Sky and checking people, waking up on Discord, maybe playing some Honkai Star Rail, just peacefully in the dark as the sun slowly rose on the horizon. That part was peaceful. Honestly, all the parts that did not involve direct sunlight were fine. It was the direct sunlight that I couldn't do. It was so hot. It was so burny. It was so sweaty. I hated it. Nighttime though, nighttime was great. Morning before the sun rose, fantastic. 20 feet underwater where there's no sunlight can't reach, wonderful. In an air-conditioned room, lovely. So one thing I did think about day 2, I'm like, shit. And I thought this in Japan as well. So I know I probably should follow up on this. I'm gonna make a note to follow up on this on my daily plan here for tomorrow's task. I need to get myself a sun parasol. Like not in a like being cute sort of way, but like in an all dead serious, I need a UV parasol umbrella to take with me to keep myself out of the sun. Get a very Lolita Kawaii parasol to take with me on travels or just out and about in the quote unquote real world. When I go out and touch grass. Yes, yeah, umbrellas are and can be UV certified, similar to clothing. I'm not sure what certification they use. I don't think it's SPF. It might be UPF, like clothing certified UPF 50 or so. I know our RAF guard is certified there. Yeah, that's why I had this parasol written down. I need to check if there are going to be ones that are available that I like, ones that have the right vibe and the right size, compactness, blah, 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 blah. Really, it's a shopping excursion for me to do while at work tomorrow. I'm under budget for the month somehow. I'll be fine. Oh, I did soothe my homesickness when I was in this hot weather, and I bought some figurines while I was in Hawaii to get shipped next year. Look, they're out of stock and they came in stock. I had a stock alert set up. I had no choice but to buy this Dark Soul figurine and this Bauchi, the rock figurine. No choice. Well, no, not those. Those were not with points. The one I bought this week after getting home, the Guts Berserk one I bought this week was with points. And they only helped a little bit. But I use it to justify it to myself. It's fine. Oh, no, you're right. I did then redeem a bunch of credit card points as cash back to justify my own purchases. That's right. Okay. See, I'm financially responsible. Sometimes. I am waiting, though. I told my dad, because he was paying for everything. And I was just like, Dad, send me how much I owe you at the end of the trip. Like, I don't want to think about splitting meals or picking up this dinner, picking up that dinner. Just end of the trip. Tell me how much to send you on Venmo or Zelle. I think he uses Zelle more than Venmo because he's like a lot older than he's old now. He's old now. He uses Zelle, not Venmo. And I was like, just tell me how much I owe you. So I might get a bill for this Hawaii trip and be deeply shooked. But hopefully that bill doesn't come until November, and it goes in November's budget. And that's how we fudge the numbers. That was the one thing, probably the one thing that shocked me about Hawaii I did not expect is the food costs. I was looking at the price of things. I'm just like, is this in US dollars? Like, shit. Everything was so much more expensive on the food front. Even things that should have been locally produced were also still expensive. Restaurants were expensive. Grocery stores were expensive. Only a couple things were about the price I'd expect. Some of the local craft beers were about the price I'd expect. Some were good, some less good. No, it's not even a tourist tax. It's just like cost of living for everybody on the island is high. Like this wasn't, I'm not looking at like tourist convenience stores or like tourist restaurants. This was like at Foodland, which is like the local grocery chain for people to buy local things, which is expensive. And I was like, oh, I thought my area had high cost of living. Talk about, what is this song? I'm gonna go skip this song real quick here. Am I still in the same playlist? Oh, I switched playlists at some point. Let's go back. There we go. That's better. Much better. Like this music got very strident. So food prices were expensive. And I'm going to say it, except for a few items, food wasn't better. There. I said it. I said it. And I stand by it. 100%. Every single opportunity we got would be just like, oh, the server would ask us at this restaurant, like, oh, why are you here? Like, oh, I'm visiting my uncle. And then you have to immediately follow that up with who lives in Kihei, implying he lives here and he works here with a job and isn't just like a rich uncle who lives in a condo and is retired in a luxurious lifestyle, but just like, my uncle works here. He lives here on the island. He's not a tourist. He's not a rich person who's retired here. Please treat us nice. We're not like the other tourists. We're not like the other tourists. But he's giving us recommendations of places to go and stuff, which is always nice. Always nice to have someone local to help with that sort of thing. Like, he's like, oh, go to this beach. Don't go to that beach. Go here. Don't go there. And you're like, oh, fantastic tips. Wonderful tips. We had a barbecue at his place. It was lovely. They're in the same boat of just like rental prices are terrible. And you're just like, one day all of us collectively can buy homes. That day is not today. Okay, let's see my notes here. What else did I do? Kihei, sunset cruise, snorkel. We did some light cooking for like breakfasts in the condo. That was fine. I got this one fried dough ball thing, which is probably one of my favorite things I got on the trip. I forget what it's called, but it's a fried dough thing, and you can't go wrong with fried dough. Fried dough, great everywhere. Great the world over. If your culture has a fried dough and I'm there, I want to try it. Savory fried dough, sweet fried dough. So tasty. So tasty. We did go to one microbrewery though. It was just okay. I'm sorry, microbrewery. You weren't the brewery of my dreams. Some of the fruit was fresh, I guess. That was nice. Most of the food is the same. Like, there wasn't anything that was like, oh wow, this is super unique. I've never heard of this before. It was mostly just like the same foods, except instead of just like, salmon, it's like, oh, mahi, and it's like the fishes are different. But I generally try to eat vegetarian, so that part didn't really help that much. I'd eat some fish. But it was okay. I'm not a super food motivated person. Like, I think other people enjoy food a lot more than I do. And so for me, the food aspect I've learned in travel isn't actually huge. Like, if you told me like, oh, we're going to travel to Japan and we're going to live off convenience store food, calorie mates, and vending machine coffee. Ooh, except for the vending machine coffee, I'd be like, yeah, fine, I can eat calorie mate and just do bare onigiri sustenance across Japan. I'd be happy with that. Not the coffee front. The coffee front, that actually, I realized as I said that. I want nice coffees. Yeah, and it's good to know. It's something I've realized over the last 10 years, or not 10 years, last year or two. It's like, it's a great segue. That I feel like in my life, I've kind of gaslit or convinced myself that I like things just because everyone else likes them. And it turns out on reflection, when I really think about it, I don't like them as much as other people. Like, they're okay. I enjoy food, but I'm not as like excited or hyped about it compared to everyone else. I'm not as excited or hyped about going to tropical beaches as everybody else. And there's these things where it's just like, it's okay not to like them. And I should ask myself and reassess that, do I actually like the things I like? Or if I just gaslit myself over the years to like these things? And I sometimes think that way about travel. I'm like, do I like travel? And I'm like, some days I'm like, yeah, I like to travel. Then other days I'm just like driving around. It's hot. It's sweaty. Going to do some like do something, and I'm just like, I don't know if I enjoy this. And that's probably one of the reasons I keep always looking at my travel trips and refining. Did I like the things I did? What didn't I like? What do I like? And how to like make it better? Because there's some parts I do enjoy. I just ask myself, do I enjoy them more than being at home? I do enjoy being at home. The time aspect is definitely part of it. The anxiety, I get a lot of anxiety the 2 days leading up to it. I was looking at my, I don't think the photo is readily available. My resting heart rate. Okay, let me see if I can find this gift. I was curious. I generally feel anxiety before I travel. That's like that's part of the course. Oh, I love it. Let me save this. Save image. Like, there's no PII on this, right? Yes, replace image 01. I was curious. I'm like, oh, it's my resting heart rate, because I use it as like, and I'm like, I was looking at this. That's not the right window to drag this into. OBS. I was looking at my resting heart rate. Here, and I was just like, when did I start worrying about this trip? And I'm like, definitely. I need to drink now. Definitely not right here. This is definitely not when I left for this trip. I got stressed and anxious about it. I'm just like, oof, my resting heart rate. Rest in peace, resting heart rate. Or don't. In this case, it didn't. That's my indicator of how stressed I am as I look at my resting heart rate leading up to events. But get refinements, see what I like, what I don't like, so I have a better time in the future. One thing I learned, I think I've convinced myself by telling myself repeatedly, if my parents, Fox Mom, Fox Dad, if you ever find out that I stream, and you ever find out what my handle is, and you're watching this, stop the stream here. Don't look further. Okay, they're gone from the VOD. Perfect. I love my parents. They're great. I enjoy traveling with them. But I think I've learned an important lesson. I don't want to stay with them. There, I said it. Whew, got that out there. They're easy to travel with, but I've gotten used to living by myself. So suddenly sharing a condo with my parents, I had my own room and bathroom and everything, so that part was fine. But we'll skip it in the future. In the future, I'll get my own lodgings, maybe nearby. Maybe if it's a separate suite, wholly self-contained, wonderful. But I find I've gotten so used to living alone, and I forgot that I used to get this prevented me from doing things I wanted to do in the past when I was in relationships, living with people, was the feeling that I was going to be interrupted when I was doing something, and I had to prioritize the person interrupting me over what I was currently doing, especially regarding cutscenes in video games or playing multiplayer games. And this deeply reminded me, oh, I don't like that feeling. So in the future, I'm going to get my own lodgings. But outside of that, really chill to travel with, and that's always nice. I can say I don't want to do something, and it's not like a blow up or a big deal or a concern or anything. It's just well, enjoy being at the condo. We're going to have fun at the beach. Bye-bye. And I'm just like, ta-ta. I'm going to go play Genshin Impact inside in the dark in the air conditioning, away from the terrifying sun. Terrible sun. The other, so that's one lesson, one important lesson. Now, traveling with friends, different dynamic, different relationship. So sharing a condo or a rental house with friends, so far has turned out fine. I'll update everyone if it changes in the future. But that's an easy boundary to set. It's always easier to set boundaries with people you've met recently than you grew up with. And that's something I noticed. I noticed it strikingly this time, I think because as I last saw my family in person was probably last Christmas. And since last Christmas, I started streaming online. I started revealing my VTuber self to the world, being a little bit more genuine, authentic. A lot of change for me in the last year and a half or so. Mostly for the good. All for the good. We'll say all for the good. It's always stark when I go back and visit family. It's almost like I revert to who I was in like high school, like my personality in high school, which is not a person I want to be again. And it always feels like a stark contrast and always reminded deeply. And it's hard to break out of that. And some of that is fighting people's preconceived image of yourself and who you are. Some of it is yourself reasserting those boundaries and that like the shape of yourself in that environment. One thing I saw on TikTok that hit me. Sometimes you see something, at least it's like, oh, here's like someone in cosplay. Oh, here's like a capybara doing something adorable. And someone is like, here's a piece of life advice that's going to shake you to the core. And you're like, oh, it hit hard. Why'd that hit so hard? It was someone talking about like if you grew up and you, like it's like almost accusatory. It's like if the algorithm brought you here, you probably need to hear this. And it's like, saying like, oh, if you were told growing up that, oh, you're a good kid, you're a nice kid, you're mature for your age. It's mostly just like you were praised for not taking up space effectively. And I'm just like, that hit hard. I'm just like, praise for not taking up space and just being like, oh, being quiet, going along, not asserting your preferences or what you like or who you are, and just kind of like going along with other people's expectations. And something about that, just like not taking up space for age is like dagger in my heart. I'm just like, oh, that's too real and it cuts too deep. I feel like over the last year and a half or so, I've been better at not doing that. But going home and visiting and being with family reminds me deeply. There's a lot of like, not quite traditional heteronormative, but normie, sound terrible saying it, normie narratives about like, oh, you know, all Fox boys in our family are like this. All Fox men are like this, sort of like narratives in the family that aren't strictly like, they're not like a bad. I think they're not like offensive or problematic, but it's like, oh, no men in the Fox family like to wear bright colors. For example, is a deep one that's deeply ingrained. And I'm just like, I like wearing bright colors. And kind of that like the family narrative that you don't fit, but you're told you should fit is always rough. No matter if it's like as simple as like being told what colors people in the family wear, not like in a terribly serious tone, to like, I imagine it's even harder if it's just like, oh, everyone in the family is like, needs to get married and have children. Like, luckily I don't have that, thankfully. Also, that'd be a bit weird to hear from my gay uncle. But the color thing came up again. It's like hit me deep. I'm just like, I like wearing bright colors. Like, I'm not wearing bright colors right now because they don't make men's like travel clothes, like the Uniqlo Air Sim lines and some other things, and like they don't make them in bright colors. My options were black and dark blue. Don't at me. I would have taken like a bright color if they had it. They didn't though. They never do. And they get something to fit and then the right color. Oh, struggling it so much. So it's hard to like return, and like you're already feeling like you're returning to how you were in high school. You get these like narratives and you're just like, this isn't who I am. And it's like, how do you like reasserting who you are is tough, especially when you don't see your family that often. I last time I saw my uncle 3 years ago, maybe. Parents 12 months ago, 10 months ago. And also my struggle, like I think a lot of people in my family consider ourselves to be the black sheep of the family. So we're all black sheep in our own ways. For me, it's just like, oh, my family's so normie. None of them play video games. Not a single one of them plays video games. None of them watch anime. Oh, that's right out. Streaming? Mm-mm. VTubing? Nope. Hard? No. Fantasy books? Nope. Sci-fi? And it's like all my hobbies are just like no one else in my family does. Or even is like knows about. So they're like, oh, how? Oh. It's like, oh, what do you do? And it's just like, oh, play games with friends online. I don't want to have to say I do streaming and then explain what VTubing is, because that's going to be a long, weird conversation. What is a fox boy? It's like, oof, oof. I'm not ready for that for my family. I'll explain it to a stranger, no questions asked. But if I find that family, oof, can be rough. It might have to happen one day. Not today, not yet. Maybe once I make it big, then be like, I'm going to quit my job and do streaming full time, and then come out and tell family. At least I don't live with them. I imagine trying to like hide that you're streaming and you live with your family. Oof, oof. Good luck. And also, of course, the deep, deep, deep fear that I think any streamer has, any VTuber has, of like their parents find out that they stream. Their chat finds out that they have parents. And then the chat starts wanting their parents to come on the stream. And their mom comes on the stream. And their mom's just more popular than them. And like everyone in chat loves their mom more than them. That's the deep fear. That's the true fear here. Ugh, it is my fear. For real. I think the only person in the family who would understand, and maybe I'd tell one day, is I have a niece who's middle school aged, high school aged, middle school aged. It's October. I'm very close, as you can tell. She likes anime, or she's expressed that she liked My Hero Academia in the past, and so that's like my one wedge to a family member. But they're like 18 states away in the middle of nowhere, and I'm not going to go visit them in the middle of nowhere. And I see her once every few years. I see her the obligatory. Here's the gift from your strange, weird uncle that may or may not be fitting. One day, perhaps, when she's an adult. I don't get along well with children. Children aren't my vibe. Never have been, especially not as a kid. What else we got? Trying with parents, fighting those stereotypes, getting it all reminded up. And what hits me halfway through any trip, this happened when I went to Japan as well, was like I'm like 3-4 days in, and I'm just like, I miss streaming. I miss playing video games with friends. I miss streaming video games to friends and other people and internet strangers and the void sometimes. I miss co-op games. The real lesson is I've slowly over time, purposely, thoughtfully, mindfully built the life I wanted to live. And whenever I travel, I'm shucked from the oyster of my life and thrust into the cold, dark world, or the hot, sweaty world, forced to try new things, learn about myself, eat different foods, talk to people, touch grass. Terrifying. One thing I did like about Hawaii, I'll give Hawaii full credit for this any day of the week. I love the wild chickens. I love having wild chickens around. I think it is great. And I'm not saying that as a fox, but I enjoy the wild free roam chickens. I don't have a roost to be safe at night in. They're eggs just on the ground for anybody to take. It reminds me of home. We had wild chickens where I grew up, and our local Walgreens parking lot had a flock of wild chickens. And something about it is very nostalgic to see kind of just like chickens hanging out in a parking lot, just like minding their own business, doing their own chickeny thing. I have a soft spot for chickens. Any game that have chickens, I'm just like, I'm going all in on chicken ranching. They're gonna be the happiest, best cared for chickens in the world until I forget about them and they get sad. Sorry, Stardew chickens. Except for the void chicken. Gotta take care of your void chickens. Oh, poor chickens. So, I was hoping to get out of this chatting, out of this Zatsudan, this Foxtsu Wednesday, was how do I answer people who ask, oh, you just came back from Hawaii, and specifically, I have my one with my manager tomorrow, and she for sure is going to ask it, and I'm going to have to figure out I need a good political, polite answer to say, I enjoyed some things, but I learned a lot about myself in tropical environments and how they're not for me. Perhaps I should just focus on what I did like and then gloss over the parts I didn't. Like, oh, I had a lot of fun. I went scuba diving. I visited my uncle, went scuba diving. That's probably good enough. We'll stick with that. It was fine. Okay. I need enough of a story here to get a conversation going, so it's not like dead air. Because the worst part is, if it gets filled with dead air, she'll ask me about my job. I don't want my manager asking about my job. That's nightmare fuel. I'll have to like talk about what I do. I don't want to talk about what I do. I don't like when I'm doing it. I'll meet with my manager once a month. It's fine. Half an hour once a month to get checked in on. It's fine. No one knows what I do at my job. I'm a strong, independent fox boy. Don't report to nobody. My Jira board is only just for me. No one else sees it. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Gives me overhead and space I need to set up streams and get that all going. Except some days you're just like, oh, what do I do? What did I do this week? For my one-on-one with my manager, how to fill this dead air time. I have half an hour here. Let's talk about Hawaii. Have you been to Hawaii? What did you enjoy? What do you like about tropical environments? Oh, I went scuba diving. It was fine. It was a great experience. I'll do it again in the future. Oh, snorkeling. We saw some turtles. I hated it being outside. The food was okay and expensive. It was kind of unpleasant at points. We'll do the first half of that. We'll do the first half of that reel. The elevator pitch there for my time in Hawaii. I'm not gonna go back anytime soon, which is very different feeling. When I returned from both times, I returned from Japan, the thought pretty quickly afterwards, like, oh man, I am looking forward to going back. I can't wait to return. There's so much more I want to explore, so many places to do, things to see, food to eat. In the case of Japan, dessert cafes. I'm not food motivated until it comes to dessert cafes. Then I am on board. Just most food places are like, oh, we have the best delicious steak. And I'm just like, pass, keep your sloppy steak. Tell me about those cream puffs. So Japan, I get back and I'm like, I had a great time. Oh, I might not have had a great time at points. There's always low points in every trip. I have things that I enjoyed and I look forward to going back and trying new things in the future. Hawaii, I got back. I'm just like, oh, I'm safe. It's cold. It's rainy. In my own apartment, there's no more sand. It's coarse. It gets everywhere. I hate it. Wash everything. Scrub myself clean with the sunblock and the sweat and the salt. One good lesson for me. I went to school in a beach. I went to college in a beach town. I've always had a narrative in my head that, oh, I love beach towns. I love being on the beach. It's wonderful. It's great. Maybe one day I'll move out of the big cities and go to a small fox town somewhere on the coast and like live on the ocean. This experience has taught me that perhaps was an idealization of a time in my life that did not involve the beach. And I do not, in fact, wish to live on a beach. Now, what I do enjoy views. I do enjoy seeing wildlife. I do like looking at the ocean and the beach from a safe cabin. Perhaps that is what I need, not a on the beach community. That part's a no. But maybe a cold beach. I think to get a cold beach, you got to be like Monterey North on the Pacific Ocean. East Coast is right out. Sorry, East Coast. You have too many weather issues to deal with. So somewhere on the beach, I like looking at the beach, seeing tides, seeing animals, seeing the sunset. It's all lovely. That part's all lovely. Just being in the sun. Though, if I lived in Hawaii, it'd be a lot like my life now, where I am effectively a shut-in. I leave to get groceries. I go for runs a couple times a week. That's it. That's all I leave. I go downstairs to pick up packages. That's my life. So I can be shut in Hawaii just fine, except for all the bugs. Bah. There's 2 cockroaches in our condo at one point because the screen door got left open. I didn't see them. I heard the screams. It was dealt with by my parents who brought me to this cockroach-infested island. And then I hear about bugs elsewhere in the world. I'm like, bugs. I didn't see any spiders. I didn't think about it. I only saw a couple small bugs, and then I heard about the cockroaches. I didn't see any spiders. What I did see, and I'm a big fan of, all the geckos. All the geckos and tiny lizards. I love a good gecko. Bugs, stay out of my condo. Stay out of my hotel room. Geckos, come on in. Come on, geckos. You're always welcome. your little chirps. You stick to walls, you kind of run around. You are entirely harmless. Maybe you lick an eyeball. Good times, Mr. Gecko. Geckos invited in. Little lizards on the path. You do you. Doing great. Chickens, love you. Stay outside though. No spiders. I was also, I think the part of the island I was on, in the picture here on the west side of the island, is in the rain shadow, so the drier side. We weren't in the upcountry or in the rainy part of the island, which is apparently more greener and more tropical. And so I bet that place probably has a lot more bugs, a lot more spiders. But no, like I get pictures sometimes of people like, oh, I'm in Texas or I'm in like Atlanta. Here's a spider the size of my head. It's just like, it's a hard pass for me. It's hard. Don't tell me about spiders or centipedes. No. Nope. Keep those away. Those are great to see in terrarium exhibits at a zoo. Lovely. I'll look at those bugs just fine. In my living space, absolutely not. Get out. I will resort to terrible pesticides if I need to, but those things stay firmly outside, not in my life. There are no spiders. There was at least one spider that I'm aware of because I kept running to its spider web every morning on the way to get coffee. It was the path to our nearby coffee shop. But maybe we went twice, walked it twice, 3 times. But every time, because this place is mostly abandoned at the shoulder season, it's like the one part is like there's the one support strand that goes across the path, and I was in the front, and every time it was just like bam, right into my hair. I'm just like, I'm sorry, Mr. Spider. I'm sorry, Mr. Spider, for breaking your web. I couldn't see it. It's fine. Poor little guy. He just wanted to spin a web to catch the bugs. Doing great work. Great work there on those bugs. Oh, gotta throw my notes. Look at that. Notes done. Ha. Normally I would have done the stream on Friday, but I felt like I wanted to get this chatting done, get the trip processed, put the this is my last post trip thing, was doing a stream talking about it. So I put that to bed so that I can get back to the regular scheduled streaming until I leave town next week. I'm flying somewhere next weekend. Why'd I do this to myself? Plus side though, big plus side, I may not have to visit home for Christmas. This may count as my family visit for the year, and so I may be staying home for Christmas, which I am a bit excited about, instead of going down for a week or two. I think last year I went down for 2 weeks. I worked remote for one and hung out for the other one. This year I might just fly down for a couple days, if that. Maybe just not go. Stay home, play video games on Christmas, stream on Christmas. For all those out there who are not also with family or don't celebrate Christmas or don't care about it, we streamers are here to keep you company. And hopefully we can bring joy to one other person in the world with our time here. We have done our job. Net positive in the world, because it's at least neutral, because I enjoy my time. So as long as someone else is entertained and enjoys a stream, we brought positive joy to the world, and that's what matters. That's pretty much it for my Hawaii trip. I got my 30-second elevator speech down for tomorrow. Went over my lessons, learnings, key takeaways. I'll talk about my next trip in a week and a half on Friday, probably. Week and a half? 2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks. I'll talk about the next trip. It's a different type of trip, different goals, trying out something new. I always try new experiences, give things a shot, see if I like them, see if I don't like them. Don't be a wet blanket on other people who are trying to enjoy it. That's key. That's how you are a good travel companion, aren't just like a stick in the mud that no one wants to travel with. Just be a real sour person. Gotta be positive, stay optimistic, stay charming. That's probably going to wrap things up on this little bit shorter stream for the day. It's fine. It's a Wednesday. Getting back into it. I had a schedule posted. If anyone follows me on Twitter, I'm now probably only going to be posting on Blue Sky going forward. Sorry, Twitter. Rest in peace. It's not doing it for me. I was posting on Blue Sky. I post a schedule up on YouTube as well, and I try to keep Twitch updated, but Twitch's schedule system is just terrible, awful, no good, bad. If someone here works at Twitch, make that better. Just make it better. That's all I need. That's all I'm asking. I'll join your focus groups. I'll do your user research. I think all I have scheduled is Against the Storm on Friday, and on Sunday morning, Against the Storm. I'm going to try to still get my Froggo boys there. I need to pick because I'm going out of town next week. I'm not ready to start in on a full narrative game quite yet. So I might just do Against the Storm and like Satisfactory for the next week or so. And then when I get back mid-November, I'll look into starting a new narrative game. I think the couple I'm looking at are Little Goody Two Shoes and Slay the Princess. Is that what it's called? Slay the Princess? What was it called? What was it called? Steam wish list here. Come on, open up. And I'm saying this out loud because they're both on sale right now, so I want to buy them when they're on sale. Little Goody Two Shoes, game option A. Game option B was, Slay the Princess. They just released the Pristine Cut, which is the DLC, some additional scenes. I never played it, so I'm interested in both those a try as I continue my dual stream of narrative game and strategy 4X game. They're both on sale, and so it's a question of Little Goody Two Shoes on 40% off. That's gonna be. I might just buy both and have them lined up. And then we'll probably also start Dragon Age, but I'm probably not going to stream Dragon Age. So sorry. I need at least one narrative game that's not actively streamed. Who brought some good games on here? I'm going to delete this off my wish list. So those will probably stream mid-November onward. Both of those in succession. Then after Against the Storm, I think it might be time for me to go to Anno 1800. We'll see how I feel on that front. But Anno's definitely coming up as a strategy game. Let's build some nice little islands. So with that, next stream, Against Storm, Friday. Like, subscribe, clip, comment, like, subscribe, clip, comment, follow. There's another call to action verbs in there. Oh, Roller Coaster is also maybe. Yeah. Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, also a maybe. I'll need to check on that when we get closer to that decision point. So mid-November will be that decision point for Roller Coaster. But I'll let everyone know once I decide what they are. Not me for a couple weeks, so we have time. We have time to decide on that front. So with that, thank you everyone for joining me on this Just Chatting stream on this lovely Wednesday. I hope everyone has safe travels if you have travels upcoming. Learn some things about yourself. Explore things you enjoy. If not, have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you all next time I stream. Bye-bye, everybody.